nobody like this. You ain't seen nobody like this. You hear my sound all over town singing. Whoa. You ain't seen nobody like this. You ain't seen nobody like this. You hear my sound all over town singing. Whoa. I think there's something in the water. If you wanna take a sip, but be careful what you wish for. The faint of heart can't handle it. Everybody wants a piece of someone else's prize, but it ain't free, it don't come cheap. Only the strongest will survive. You ain't seen nobody like this.
Good evening. The weather's getting a little bit cold. Time for some hoodies. You know what time that is? Soccer season for high schools. Rafa, welcome back.
Welcome back.
You got
It's
any
been too
new
long.
you got any new weather gear lined up for this year to when you're out covering games?
Oh, I don't know whether this El Nino. Who knows? Who knows what's gonna happen? Maybe some rain gear. So probably get a nice rain jacket. I know we're getting some rain. I think next weekend. I think it's gonna be pouring. So some of those some scrimmages might get a little affected by it, but it'll be fun playing in the rain.
Yeah, AJ with his Stevens team, they scrimmage tomorrow and then on Monday. And I was looking at the weather and I'm like, damn, it's getting cold. So yeah, here we go. But a lot to kind of discuss. We're going to start out with some Tasco preseason state rankings. Just to get a quick observation from Rafa, kind of on his view at the state level, there are San Antonio area teams involved as well as the Valley, which we'll probably kind of highlight just to kind of see for there. Then we'll move on to TAPS Winter Soccer. It's kicked off here, so we'll kind of touch base on there. And then we'll go, well, actually, do you want to do Rafa's ranking next or the TAPS Winter Soccer standings? Or should we start with the Winter Soccer standings?
Let's give some love to TAPS. So we got to give them some love.
So we'll do the TAPS, and then we'll do the Rafa Power 15 for both the boys and the girls. And then, depending on the time, kind of discuss realignment, I guess is what it is with, it's that time of year, right? Because they do it every 2 years, is my understanding. And, Texas _high school _sports on X or Twitter, depending on what you call it, has put out some projections and good discussion pieces. I think nobody knows for sure on how they're gonna draw the numbers, but I think they're pretty good as far as like a baseline of what it could be. So we'll give him some love, or him or her some love. I don't know if it's a boy or girl.
Yeah, they're usually pretty accurate on some of the predictions.
So we'll kind of focus in on the San Antonio area because there is one that Rafa's already deemed the group of death if it does come true. For the state, right? I think you're calling it for the state or just for Region 4?
For Region 4. But I'm sure there's other group of devs. So I guess up there with the Frisco schools.
So let's get into it. We'll look at the state rankings here for it here. Starting out with 6A boys, they got Seven Lakes 1, S.A. Lee, San Antonio Lee number 2, Allen Woodlands number 4, Coppell number 4. I never get the city right.
Sasky
at 6. San Antonio Reagan at 7. Dobie at 8. Brownsville Rivera at 9. And El Paso Eastlake, which I'm sure if Coach Cano is watching or listening, probably thinks they're a little bit undervalued at number 10.
I think so. I don't know. It depends on. I think they had these last few years for them. I know they've had some good runs. They just kind of fell short. So we'll see if they've reloaded or they're kind of maybe a little rebuild. But I'm sure they're still going to probably be the top team in El Paso besides them and another team in the 5A.
So looking at the San Antonio teams, Lee at number 2, Reagan at 7, and we'll add Brownsville Rivera in at 9. Anything sticks out? Too high, too low? And I know we'll get to your rankings here, so don't spoil it too much. But I won't lie. Seeing Lee ranked that high for me was a little bit surprising. I know they're a quality program and along those lines here, but be ranked number 2 in the state preseason. That's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, especially especially the quality of players that they lost last year. Like I said, they had a good bunch that had one that signed with SMU, and yeah, I think that's what maybe the respect Coach Rogers and his program has there, and I think that's why they voted him number 2. I mean, like with Seven Lakes, like I said, Seven Lakes is your defending state champion. They're gonna have the big target on their back, and I can see them coming back to Georgetown. A team that kind of pulled, last year was like Allen surprised some teams last year. Woodlands and Capel. Those are your two, because they're traditionally your strong powerhouses from the Houston, Dallas area. Saski's kind of like a new kid. I'm not saying new kid on the block, but as far as being a new kid on the block, as far as a soccer power. And then you have Reagan. Reagan's had their history here too as well. Adobe's been one of those dominant programs, the last few years. Then same thing with Rivera, had a great run last year. They knocked off Lee, and they're almost close to knocking off Dripping Springs to get to the state tournament again. And then Eastlake, I mentioned Eastlake I guess will probably be one of the top 2 teams in the El Paso area.
Moving to 6A girls, number 1, Wiley East, 2, South Lake, 3, Ridge Point, 4, Flower Mound, 5, Allen, Marcus at 6, San Antonio Johnson at 7, Seven Lakes, Bridgeland, and Round Rock. So for the ladies, 7 and 10 as far as the only representatives in the top 10 for 6A. I don't think that's surprising, right? Because Dallas historically has dominated this group, right?
Yeah. Wiley East, like I said, they made a run last year. They just fell a little short. They were under one of the top. They're really kind of like one of the surprises last year, and I think they see them very highly of them. See if they get back to Georgetown. We all thought last year South Lake was going to pull it off, get the back to back, but they were missing a couple players, and I'm hearing this year that I think Kennedy Fuller may not be playing. I think she's not on the roster with South Lake, and I think she's concentrating, getting ready to go to North Carolina. But I've even heard rumors supposedly she may be being looked at by some pro teams already, so she could be offered a pro contract, which would be great for her.
Oh, nice.
She's one of the top U.S. women's national team for the under 18s. Great talent. So that could come to effect for them. Ridge Point's been, like I said, they have out of the Houston area, they've been great the last few years. Flower Mound was a surprise, like I said. They won it all, and they've won it in the past, and they've always been one of the powerhouses there in Dallas. Allen, same thing. Marcus, like I said, they're the ones that knocked off South Lake. They got the title. I'm a little surprised they're ranked that have them at 6. I would think maybe a little bit higher, because they are the state champs. But I guess that's how they voted, and I'm happy for Johnson. Be real lookout for Johnson. I think Johnson's for here in San Antonio are going to be a good team here for. And then Seven Lakes also too. Not only the boys but the girls program. Bridgeland too is like an up and comer, and then one of the surprises last year was Round Rock. So it's a lot of. But there's some teams out there they're missing there. You don't see like a Lake Travis and South Lake Carroll, because besides the South Lake Carroll and South Lake girls are there. Like there was another team I forgot off the top of my head. The Dripping Springs girls, they had a great run too. Yeah. So I'm surprised they're not in the top 10. So, but like I said, I think we've seen kind of like a logjam of some of the rankings here for the 6A girls.
Moving over to the ladies in 5A, Midlothian at 1, Wakeland number 2, Georgetown 3, Leander number 4, Cullyville Heritage 5, Reedy 6, Barber Hills 7, Smithson Valley locally, number 8, Grapevine, and 40. So only Smithson Valley, which I think if you're a Smithson Valley fan, I think you'll like Rafa's power rankings. Not to give anything away, but number 8, pretty solid. You think that they could have been higher, or is it an appropriate spot for for the preseason?
I think that'd be a little higher maybe than Barbers Hill. I think they could be in the top 5. You know, maybe 6. Not really familiar too much with Barbers Hill. I think maybe they have a good squad coming back. If you look at the number 1 team, Midlothian, I think they've had really established themselves. They're in the Metroplex, but then you have Wakeland. Wakeland girls, like I said, they're one of the perennial powerhouses there. And then you have Georgetown, which we actually interviewed their coach a couple of weeks ago. They're on the 50-50 podcast. He's ready. They made a run to Georgia. They're in their home stadium, just fell a little short. I think they're ready to go. I think they're focused, and I want to be surprised they're playing back in their backyard. They're in April, and then Leander was a little surprised. That high. I know they had a good run last year. I know actually one of their players actually playing for the university I work for. So, I know they had some talent there. Colliver Heritage, what you can say about them? They've, like I said, perennial powerhouse there in Dallas. Reedy's kind of one of the first schools up and coming. Like I say, I'm a little surprised Grapevine's kind of at a little low at 9. I think that'll be maybe a little bit higher. And then I think, like I said, with front out with 10 with Forney, probably another team that probably has a lot of returning lettermen back and starters, so they're probably going to make a run there in their region.
And then move it up to the 5A boys. Lone Star, El Paso Bel Air, Porter, Pflugerville Conley, Midlothian, Goose Creek Memorial, Wakeland, Reedy, and the only San Antonio representative Southwest. And at number 9, and then at 10, Colleyville Heritage. I know El Paso Bel Air, Porter, Lone Star. It's hard to argue who's ahead of Southwest just because historically they've all have went very deep in state. So for Southwest, you think it's appropriate, or you think they could be a little bit higher preseason, and I know results will matter?
I think that's a good spot for them. I think that's where they're at. I mean, you look at Lone Star. Lone Star is a defending 5A state champ. They finally got the monkey off their back, getting past Wakeland. I'm a little surprised Wakeland's that kind of, a little low at 7. I think they'd be in the top 5, just them. And even with Reedy too, those 3 have been beating each other up these last 2 years. I could literally see them 1, 2, and 3, but Bel Air, El Paso Bel Air may have something to say about it too, and like I said, I think they're one of the top-notch teams there from the El Paso area. They're right there, I think, right there with East Lake. Porter, like I said, Brownsville Porter. Keep an eye on them this year. I think they may, for Region 4, keep an eye on them. You could see maybe a Southwest Porter regional final. I know last year, Sherryland is the one that kind of shocked everybody, but I could see Porter and Southwest in the regional final for Region 4, and then Midlothian too. Like I said, their boys teams, they have a great program there. Goose Creek, that's a little high for them. I think that maybe they'd be in the top, maybe like lower to the bottom of the top 10. Colleyville Heritage, I think that should be a little bit higher too. So I mean, you look at those Dallas area teams, they just, for Region 1, Region 2, they love powerhouses, but some of our boys here in Region 4, I guess some of our teams, I know they can go toe to toe with them. So some great teams on there, and there I know there's some other teams that kind of left out. Teams like Brownsville Lopez, keep an eye on them. Vendors Memorial too for Brownsville, their football team. Look at their football teams in the state semifinals. So, and then you got other, some other programs as well too, like Kingwood Park in the Houston area. They've always traditionally been a great program. So it's gonna be interesting here. Like I said, Lone Star finally got over the hump. They got the championship, but now they have that big target on their back, and Wakeland's gonna want take that back away from them.
So moving over to 4A boys, Palestine, Salina at number 2, St. Elliot at number 3, Hidalgo Early College at 4, Bernie at 5, Wichita Falls, our old buddy Scott's backyard, Lumberton, River Oaks, Castleberry, El Campo, and Jacksonville round out the top 10. Bernie at 5, solid, high expectations.
Yeah, I think that's a good spot for them. I mean, they had a good 2-year run. They fell a little short in that regional final. I think they just kind of ran a little out of gas. I was a little surprised they lost to the Hidalgo. I honestly thought Bernie was going to three-peat. They just had the team, the pedigree. Coach Strong has them. I mean, what do you say about that? About their program? They've really established themselves. And I think they'll bounce back. You got to see them as one of the favorites here for Region 4. Palestine, like I said, they've been the consistent, top 3 teams in 4A. They just feel a little short. And that's kind of the thing. They're kind of been the kind of the maid of honor a few times. And is this the year they finally kind of like say, hey, let's get to add another star to the jersey. But another team to kind of look out for is that Salina boys team. I don't know, they fell short last year, but I think they've reloaded and good keep an eye on them. Same thing with San Eli out in El Paso. They're a great program. Just keep an eye out. I think there's a couple other teams that could challenge them, like an El Paso Bowie and also Riverside. Hidalgo, I know they had that Cinderella run, and because really nobody expected them to win it all, and now the pressure's on them. Like I said, the first year coach from that took over. Can he, win the region and be able to defend the championship? And then Wichita Falls, like I said, this is actually their last year as a high school. Since now they're changing to going, they're going from the 3 high schools they have, they're going to 2. So to see if they make one last run too. Yeah, they have, I think, Legacy Memorial High School. Lumberton's become one of those region 3. Like I said, probably become a little powerhouse there. I know the girls get a lot of the spotlight, but the boys are starting to make a run. River Oaks, Castleberry, kind of a new team. I think they probably see something that they have. El Campo, same thing. Jacksonville as well. I'm surprised. Coach Cano's favorite team, the guys from Diamond Hill Jarvis are not in the top 10. That's a little surprising there. I would think they would be in it. So maybe they've gone on and to other things and so forth. But shout out to them. Shout out to Diamond Hill. They're great squad, great program there. But don't count them out. You could see them in the top 10 pretty soon.
And then last but not least, the 4A girls, Salina at 1, Lumberton, Davenport at 3, San Antonio area, Stephenville, Anna, Bernie at 6, Jacksonville, Wimberley, Lorena, and Salado. So pretty good representation for the San Antonio area in the 4A girls. Davenport, Bernie, and Wimberley all kind of in that area.
In the same district too, and it's gonna be a dogfight. The last 2 years have been a dogfight with those 3 teams, and but going to as far as with the top team, what can you say about Salina? They're going to be the favorite again for the 3-peat. They don't.
Well, them and Anna. Them and Anna are in the same district as well, right?
Yeah. Be careful. Like I said, that's probably the one team they kind of need to kind of watch out for. It would be Anna. I think Anna could surprise them. But like I said, I still think Salina is going to be. Like I said, they're going to be fair to the 3-peat. I think they'll get it, but I won't be surprised if, like I said, if there is an upset, Anna will probably be the team, in their region to throw that little monkey wrench. Same thing with Lumberton. Lumberton, like I said, the girls, they had a great run last year. They've really established themselves as a great program. Davenport, they have quite a few Lenderman returning back from one. I remember from when I was talking to a few people. I know they have a new coach. We'll see how that transpires. Is that the missing piece that gets them to the next, to the state tournament level? we'll see. Like I said, but they have in that tough district with Bernie, who you see at 6, and then also with Wimberley at 8. Like I said, that's probably one of the most brutal districts for Region 4 for 4A for girls soccer. And then Stephenville, like I said, they've been a state power the last few years. It just came up a little short last year. I'm sure they'll make a run again, and they're in Region 1. Jacksonville's a little surprise, someone new team, but I think they're in East Texas. I think they're going to make some noise. And then Region 2, they're with Lorena and Salado. They're in the not too far away from each other. Those are the two teams there that could probably challenge Stephenville too. One team I'm a little surprised they're not there. The Senelli girls. I'm surprised they're not in the top 10 too. I think they've done a really good job as well. And then even the another team, I think it was Plains West down in the Amarillo area. They had for a first year program, they had a great run, and for them not to be in the top 10, that's also surprising too as well. The West Plains,
and these are
Amarillo West Plains. Yeah.
These rankings are by Tasco. Thank you for doing it. You can follow them at Tasco Soccer on Twitter X for that here. So to me, it's good discussion pieces for that here. It's a good thing to get the discussion started. But we do have some action already going on with TAPS. The winter soccer season's already started. We'll start out with the girls. Antonian 5-1-1, in Cardinwood 4-2, and 1-0 in district. And I know there's 3 losses in districts. I pulled this from the TAPS, the rank1sports.com for TAPS. So I couldn't figure out who the third winner was, but that's what was understanding. So we went with it. Houston San Prius 3-3-1. Tombo Concordia 2-4-1. Incarnate Word for Houston 2-3-1, and the Village School Vikings 1-4 for that. But Antonian and Cardwood off to good starts for Region 1 Division 2 for the ladies.
Yeah, hopefully we'll see Antonian get to. Like I said, I don't know. Last year, them and Incarnate were kind of a little falling short. I think Antonian to see if they have a deep run this year. Hopefully they can get to the final. I know it's been dominated by the Dallas area teams for TAPS there for Division 1, but the one team that I think has a chance to change things over there would be Antonia, the Lady Apaches.
And let me just make sure I went to the right one here. So just for Antonian here, let me click on. So it looks like here they did their only losses was at St. Michael's and Austin Regents. For that, they lost 7-1 and 7-1 and 0-5, but they beat Holy Cross, New Braunfels Christian, and Incarnate Word. They actually play tomorrow this weekend. They travel over to Houston for the Village Schools and Houston St. Prius, and then for Antonian. They also lost to St. Michael's 0-5, but then they played some games over in Houston. Beat Katy St. John, All Saints Fort Worth, drew Katy St. John's. Beat All Saints Fort Worth and beat Liberty Christian Dallas 5-1 for that here. They are also traveling over to Houston this weekend, where they'll play Houston St. Pius and then the Villages. So them and Incarnate Word will be traveling together for that here. So for Region 2, TMI 4-2, 3-0 in district. San Antonio Christian 4-2, 2-0 in district. St. Mary's Halls 1-3, 0-1, and St. Anthony Catholic 1-6, 0-2, and Laredo St. Augustine Knights 0-5, and nothing's on the board for Victoria St. Joseph's. TMI San Antonio Christian, probably the 2 stronger teams out of this one. Is that correct?
Yeah, both teams, like I said, they made some runs last year. It's going to come down to those 2 teams who wins that district, and then as far as the playoff spot, more like it's going to. I think what you see there, St. Anthony's made they used to surprise some teams last year, and I think a little slow start. Same thing with St. Mary's Hall. I know they had some changes there, uh, but they had one district loss. But I think those 4 teams more likely will advance to the TAPS playoffs for Division Two. But we'll see what TMI does. I think Christian had a good squad last year. They may have hit some because I did get to see them play a couple times. We'll see how graduation hit them. But I want to be surprised those two. You can see those in the Final Four.
And then moving on to Region 3, Division 4, Church John Paul II, 7-0-1. Geneva, the ladies off to a strong start as well, 4-0 again. The Atonement Academy, I think, kind of caught me surprised, 5-1. New Braunfels Christian, 3-6-1. San Marcos Academy Lady Bears, 2-5-1. And Holy Cross of San Antonio, 0-4. But last year, this conference or this division was dominated by JP2 and Geneva, with obviously JP2 winning, going very deep in the playoffs here. So, your thoughts? Let me just see if I can, your thoughts on the district, and I'll take a look at who the Guardians have played against so far.
With JP2, like I said, they lost in the final last year. It was a rematch. I think it was like the third
fourth one, right?
time, the fourth one. Yeah, the quad trilogy, the quadruple. Now they're probably going for round 5. But Bernie Geneva and Atonement may have other plans, and they've gone some good starts. They may give a run for the top spot. Nothing's going to be given to them for sure for GP2. And what are you going to say about Atonement? I know from switch somewhere from kind of like fall soccer to the winter soccer, they've really established themselves, and keep an eye on them. They can do some damage in the playoffs, and same thing with Geneva. So it's going to be a fun. Like I said, this is going to be a fun district, and hopefully we'll get a chance to see them play.
Yeah. So for the Atonement Academy, they played at the JP2 tournament. They beat St. Augustine. They beat San Marcos Academy. Lost to New Braunfels Christian 0-1, and doesn't say. See here, they ended up playing. They drew, according to here, JP2. I'm assuming probably in the final or along those lines here, 0-0. JP2 beat St. Anthony, beat St. Dominic Savio, San Marcos, Bay Area Christian, Laredo, St. Augustine, New Braunfels Christian, San Marcos Academy, and according to the Rank 1 sports site, drew Atonement Academy 0-0. So overall, a pretty good result here on the 8th. So tomorrow, San Antonio Christian plays JP2 as well. So before
it's going to be a great. That'll be a good game. Good test for both teams.
Tomorrow at 5 at San Antonio Christian for that here. And then let's see here. Let me see here. Yeah, the Atonement Academy doesn't have anything till first of the year. And then looks like here, Bernie's at Lutheran South tournament for that here to be determined for this weekend. So they'll have some more updates next week, depending if it's updated here for that here. But for TAPS, anything stand out to you or kind of expected as far as what kind of results at this point?
I was surprised with that draw that they had, and like I said, the way this season's coming up, I think this district's going to be a little bit more competitive than last year. So I think GP2 can't take things for granted. So they're going to be in some dogfights, especially with Geneva and the Atonement for this coming year.
So moving on to the boys, San Antonio Apaches 7-0-2, Houston St. Thomas 7-1, St. Pius 6-1, Central Catholic 4-0, the Village 1-1-1, and Concordia Lutheran 0-8-2. Obviously, Antonian and Central Catholic are the two schools that we focus on, although St. Thomas and St. Pius X historically have been very solid programs is my understanding from from following this. Is this is what, year 5, year 6 that we're doing this here. They've always been kind of a strong thought here, but your thoughts on Central Catholic and Antonion so far 7-0-2, and then 4-0 for Central Catholic. And
Yeah, with the Antonian, they start off strong. I've noticed they've started strong the last few years, but once they get to district play, they've kind of faltered a bit. And I know now they're in, like I said, in a tougher district with St. Thomas and Pius X. Like I said, it's a if can they get over the hump and get some wins over those. And like I said, Central Catholic, like I said, the tradition they've had, and I know they had a recent coaching change. um they have an experienced coach Walter Rule, so he's there at Central Catholic, so he's got great pedigree there. He's got a state title when he was at Reagan. I'm sure he's going to do a lot of good things there at Central Catholic, get them back, you know, like they did last year. They did bounce back last year. They'll feel short, but I think he'll have them in the back direction, and hopefully they'll contend for the state title. And hopefully Antonio does too, because I think Antonio has talent. I think if they can get it together, get some quality wins, and they'll be able to maybe scare some teams in the playoffs and make another run. Hopefully we can have maybe 2 teams in the state tournament from San Antonio.
so I will say both Central Catholic and Antonian are traveling to Houston this week. Antonian plays the Village, or pardon me, St. Prius on Friday. Central Catholic will play the Village, and then they reverse it on Saturday, December 9th here. One match, though, that I think that'll pique your interest and pique the interest of a lot in our our viewing watch. December 29th, 2 p.m. at Comalander Stadium, Central Catholic versus Lee. 2 p.m. kickoff, according to Central Catholic's website here. So I know that's Christmas week for that here, but historically, that's a pretty competitive match, especially as we discussed Lee with the preseason rankings, and we'll see where Rafa has them in his Power 15 going against Central Catholic. I'll go ahead and let it out of the bag. They're both in the top Power 15 for that here. So that one might be a match that 29th is a Friday afternoon on. Might be something that if you have time, go out and support Central Catholic and Lee.
That should be a good game, a good test for both. Before, like I said, Lee starting their regular season. Like I said, Central Catholic, already starting district play, a good little test before they start the second round of district play as well.
And then Region 2, Division 4, San Antonio Christian 7-1-1, 3-0. TMI 3-3, 2-0. Laredo St. Augustine 1-2-2, 0-1-1 in district. St. Mary's 1-2, 0-1. San Antonio St. Anthony 3-3-1, 0-3 in district. And like I said here, these are from the rank1sports.com on what's reported. It's early in the season, so I'm not going through and trying to pick out the results here. But San Antonio Christian, another school that historically does well on the men's side here. Just trying to see, they beat St. Anthony, Laredo, St. Augustine, Victoria, St. Joseph. Their one loss is to St. Michael's, 4-0 loss for that here. Lutheran South, Woodlands, New Braunfels Christians, and Feast for that here. Tomorrow they play JP2 on the boys' side, through there, and then looks like here they're going to be playing in the Pleasanton tournament going forward in January, mid-January for that here. But your thoughts on this one here? Anything that stands out to you?
The team also to kind of look out for, like I said, with San Antonio Christian, I think TMI, I think they'll battle it out. But keep an eye on Brownsville St. Joseph. I know that you don't see any records on them, but traditionally they've always had some good teams down there. They got a lot of talent there. So they keep an eye on them. Those are probably your 3 that are going to be challenging for the district title, for them. So it should be interesting to see when they face each other. But San Antonio Christian legacy, great start to the season. See if they can continue on. TMI, I know they maybe challenge themselves for some non-district games, but like I said, they're undefeated in district play, so it's no shame on that to play a tough schedule prior to your district schedule to get you prepared for that, especially for the playoffs.
And then for Region 3, Division 4 boys, not a lot of action reported. New Braunfels Christian 1-2, the Atonement Academy 1-2-1, Kerrville Our Lady of the Hills 0-1-1, Geneva School for the boy Bernie 0-2, JP2 Guardians 0-2, Holy Cross of San Antonio 0-3. To me, the one that kind of stood out is, we see the success for JP2 for the ladies. Last year on the boys team, boys side, they struggled, and it looks like, and I know it's early, very early, but for Church JP2, I'm not going to lie, seeing the 0-2 schedule kind of raised some flags for me a little bit.
Yeah, it can't owns for them. Like I said, this district's kind of like a little. If you can see here, is like a little wide open district. Can JP2's boys kind of do the same like the girls? Kind of get it together and make a run here in the district play, but also get deep into the playoffs. Same thing with Geneva. I think last year they had a good team. The one team that I know last year's surprise was the Atonement too. They've surprised some teams last year, and also New Braunfels Christian. So I think this is one district you can't really predict. I think it's up for grabs. I think there's 5 teams that can pretty much win the district title. It's probably going to come down to who's clicking at the right time, and it's pretty much got everything pieced together, and hopefully that'll lead them get some momentum and make them get a deep run into the TAPS playoffs.
And just looking at it here, just going through, it does look like JP2 and Geneva has lost 2 more here. Geneva lost today 3-0 at the Lutheran South tournament here. So there'll be some more updates coming for there. But that's where we're at so far on the early season standings here. We'll probably check back. Might have one more show before we break for Christmas.
For Christmas
here, we'll have to kind of make that determination. But for TAPS, like I said, they get started early. They finish early compared to the rest. But you're going to start seeing a little bit more commingling between the two, especially early in January, where you see TAPS teams that will be playing some of the San Antonio schools and vice versa. So that will be interesting. So then it's time to talk about what we're all here for. The Rafa's 2024 Power 15. We'll start out with the girls like we always do here. Just missed here. Wimberley, Lavernia, Brennan, and Jefferson. Any thoughts on the four teams that you've got just outside the top 15 at this time?
Yeah, so just to kind of explain if anyone's new watching, like I said, this is power ranking. So I'm going not by classification. Like I said, like I don't have a 6A, 5A, 4A power rankings and so forth. None of that. We're going pretty much kind of like boxing style, like the best of the best, pound for pound, from 4A or 5A, 6A. So and then hearing the girls, with all 3 classifications, especially in this area, we got some quality teams, and it was tough, to come on, kind of picking the teams as far as making this list, and these just barely kind of missed out. They could have been also in the top 15. Like I said, Wimberley, keep an eye on them. They're gonna have a great season. Like I said, they were state ranked, but like I said, this is pound for pound. Like I said, I'm including some of the other classifications in. Lavernia too. Like I said, the Lavernia girls, they're in 27 4A. Could this be the year they make a deep run? They've had some. Last year they struggled a little bit, but they're able to get through. Said win a district title. Jefferson girls, like I said, they've been a consistent team the last few years. They've won a couple playoff games. Can they get over that second round hump? And then Brennan, like I said, fantastic Well, said hi to my Uncle George. They're in Brownsville. They're at Brownsville Pace. He always gives me the information there for Pace High School. So shout out to the Vikings soccer team. Brennan girls, they've been great. They've the last couple of years they've made some great runs. The district 29 is just brutal because you got O'Connor and you got Taft and. It's come down to like one game, like who beats who to win the title. So I know this year Brennan's is rebuilding a little bit, but like I said, I think they'll still make the playoffs this year. So, but I don't want to be surprised if any of these 4 teams get into the top 15.
And I will say the first version I got from Rafa had Brennan in. And then as we got closer to it here, Brennan unfortunately got bumped out for that here. So Brennan was this close. If we would have had it, 3 days ago, they would have been in. But as Rafa does his homework,
I had to do my homework. Yeah, yeah. So I had to do my homework because it goes on to my credibility. So I have to do all that homework and stuff.
So moving on to 15, and I'm sure Coach Cano, new addition to MacArthur. Might have slipped a little something under the table at number 15. The MacArthur Brahmas, and like shout out to Coach Cano and like I said here, the MacArthur Brahmas, obviously outside of Stevens, there'll be a team we probably follow pretty close with as well, just with the relationship that we have with the 50-50 podcast. But your thoughts on MacArthur and Coach Cano moving over, and obviously his daughter moves over with him, and along those lines.
Not to give too much away, to the scouting reports. Just keep an eye on them. Just having my conversations with him, and he for me, like I said, him being coaching here at MacArthur, he's a great fit. And from what MacArthur did make the playoffs last year, but I think adding him and his experience, keep an eye on them, and that's why I have him at 15 because, like I said, and if he pops on, and we'll probably discuss that. But keep an eye on them because I think this team has some motivation. I think they have something to prove, and especially that District 27 5A. If I'm Alamo Heights, I'd don't take them lightly, and in that game, I think that when they play there, it's going to be a great game. And I think with Coach Cano is going to really guide these girls to with his, like I mentioned, with his experiences in the past. I think I think he might be that missing ingredient to get them to that next step. So that's why I have them at 15 because, like I said, they're kind of like that dark. They're, like I said, they're a dark horse. Keep an eye on them. So they may surprise some people this year.
Moving on to 14, the Southwest Dragons. I know I teased that a team got moved out. This was a team that got moved in. So what prompted to have the Lady Dragons back in? I know they had a good run last year.
Yeah, I think when I looking back on them, I'm kind of looking at what they've done. They won some good games last year. I know the district's not the toughest, and I'm hoping, like I said, and I've seen some of their preseason schedule. I think they're kind of making up for that. I think that second round game's kind of been the little Achilles heel. But I think if they can get things together, piece it together, I think they can do the same thing like the boys. They're another team. Like I said, they're another dark horse team. I think they could, if they get everything right, get in the groove. They have, like I said, I've seen them a few times. They have talent there, and they're coached well. And I think this could be, they're the favorite to win 28-5A. But I think if they can really get things all together, and finally, I think that Achilles heel has been those Austin area teams. If they can get by them, don't be surprised if they can make some noise, go to 3 or 4 rounds deep this coming year.
Number 13, the Lady New Braunfels Unicorns, another team that snuck in late for here as well. Here, your thoughts on the Unicorns?
I think they're kind of like a mirror to like Southwest. Keep an eye on them. They're going to be a very sneaky team. The they're great talent. Um, I think they'll be one of the favorites. Like I said, I think they'll be the favorite for 27 6A for the district title. Um, I think they have enough talent to beat beat one, like I said, one of the teams from 28 6A. We know how that district is. So keep an eye on them. Like I said, this is probably their last year in 6A. I think they want to make some noise before they move down to 5A next year. Great squad, and I know they got some tough games coming up. I know saw some of those scrimmages. They're really challenging themselves. So, like I said, they're a dark horse. So keep an eye on them and what they can do in the playoffs.
O'Connor, you talked about 29. You got the O'Connor Panthers, the Lady Panthers in at 12 for that here. So your thoughts on O'Connor being at 12?
Yeah, they like I said, same great team last year. They made a run too last year. I know they had a coaching change from over the summer. So we'll see how that transpires. That's why I have them at 12 because I want to see what they do. But like I said, they're part of the big three on that 29 6A with them, Taft and Brennan. And it's coming down to who wins whichever game. Who
Who can get the draws?
The draws. The last 2 years it's come down to that. A couple that one game. 2 years ago it came down to someone winning, knocking off someone, and it changed everything. And as far as the seeding and the district title, so but O'Connor should be great again. It'll be a great this year. See if they'll make another run again. They beat some good teams in the playoffs, and we'll see what they do this coming season.
Alamo Heights, 5A 27 at 11. Well, Laddie, I was a little bit surprised, a little bit lower than anticipated. But, as you mentioned, you got MacArthur in there that you think will give them a little bit of a battle. So your thoughts on the Lady Mules?
I think that for them, like I said, they are the favorite for 27 5A, but like I said, they could be challenged this year. And but like I said, historically, like I said, they've been one of the best programs, and we'll see if they can. See if they can make a deep run. I know they've had some challenges, like with the teams, like with the Cedar Parks or the Liberty Hills, the Rouses teams. So we'll see what they do this year. Like I said, if they can get it together, I wouldn't be surprised to see them in Corpus Christi there in the regionals.
Reagan Rattlers at number 10 for the 28.
So another team, great team. Like I said, I know they took a little hit on graduation. Did see them last year. They'll be one of the challengers for that district title for 28 6A. It's what you can say about that for that group. It's like the group of death there when it comes to that, because you got 5 or 6 quality teams in that district that could win that district title. And but I think they'll get it together. They'll challenge, but I think they'll get into the playoffs this year.
Number 9, Bernie Greyhounds, 4A 26.
Great run for them. Last year they gave Salina a scare. I think they had them, and they just kind of left them off the hook. But what a great run for the Lady Greyhounds last year. I know they might be, kind of not saying rebuilding, but kind of are going to reloading. It's going to be a challenge for them as far as replacing that talent, but I'm sure they will. And what can you say about 26 4A? I think that's probably one of the toughest districts in 4A, especially here in Region 4. Like I said, you got Wimberley and you got Davenport. So like I said, it's going to be a dogfight for those three teams for the district title. But I think Bernie, I could see like a Bernie Wimberley or Bernie Davenport in the regional final again this year.
Number 8, Bernie Champion Chargers. So here from 4A 26.
So Bernie Champion, like I said, great. They struggled last year. I think they had a lot of injuries, but they were able to. They had one of the biggest upsets last year, and they almost kind of pulled it off. And this year they do have a new coach. We'll see, what they do this year. And what they have the coming back, but like I said, another tough district. Like I said, then that 5A district with because I said they have Smithson Valley in that district, they have Canyon, they have Piper. Uh, just a logjam of
not 4A.
of talented teams there. So I like I said, they're I know they got the 4 seed. We'll see. I think they may get a little higher seed this year. That could be, like I said, they're going to be one of the challengers for the district title.
The Canyon Cougarettes at number 7.
So yeah, one of their district rivals from 26 5A. Like I said, they had a great year last year, and I caught notice of them when I went to that Smithson Valley tournament. I saw them play against Austin Bowie, and they put on a performance, and they didn't look back, and they had a great run. And I think they're still going to still have the talent to challenge again for the district title, and we'll see. I mean, it's going to be some interesting matchups when they go up against, like I said, Smithson Valley, Piper, and Champion.
Speaking of Piper, you have them as number 6.
Piper,
5, 6, and 7, right? Bernie Champion, Canyon, and Piper, all from 26.
Yeah, what can you say about that district? I mean, there's the grupo that I'm with there for the girls soccer. So, Piper's, like I said, I think they learned a lot from last year. I said I got to meet some of the parents out there, so shout out to them, and went to a couple of their games. I think some of the little inexperience kind of caught up to them a bit, because it looked like they were gonna maybe win that district title, but they kind of fell short. But I think they're a year more wiser. I think they're gonna probably be a little better. I think they're a legitimate threat, to there in Region 4, and especially for that district. I said, don't want to be. They're gonna give Smithson Valley all they can handle this year, so it's going to be fun. I can wait. Like I said, I hopefully get an opportunity to see that game.
JP2, the Guardians. I know we already talked about them. Off to a great start so far here at number 5 in your standings.
Yeah, from them, state finalists. Really thought they were going to win it. Just came a little short. Maybe we'll see, like I said, round 5 again. In the state finals. I think they're gonna have some challenges, like we saw on the district standings with the Atonement, and with Geneva. So it's not gonna be a gimme for them, but they're still one of the powerhouses there for TAPS for Division 3.
Davenport, number 4, which state has them at, or Tasco for the state preseason rankings have them at 3rd overall in 4A. You got them number 4 in the Rafa Power 15.
Yeah, Davenport, like I said, they had a great run, just fell short in that regional final, but they returned a lot of experience back, and I know they had that coaching change, but I think they have the tools to make another run back and get back to the regional final and see if they can break through and get to Georgetown, and maybe challenge, maybe Salina, in one of the semifinals or the finals, or any of the other teams. But it'll be a great, like I said, it's gonna be a challenge for them, because like I said, they have Bernie, they have Wimberley, even Canyon Lake too. Can't leave out Canyon Lake. They could surprise some teams. But it's gonna be a fun year for this district to watch. Keep an eye on it, and you have a chance to check out when they play Wimberley or Bernie High. It should be a really great game.
Number 3, Taft Lady Raiders, who went extremely far last year. The 3rd ranked team out of the 6A 29 for the Northside schools.
So yeah, last year one of my number 1s. They were also number 1 a few times, and
they ended number 1
last year. Yeah, they ended number 1. Then great year last year. They had like I said, they had some great players. It's a little short there when they lost to the Round Rock team, to the Round Rock teams. Excuse me. I think they'll still be the favorite for 29 6A. I think, but like I said, O'Connor and maybe Brennan, maybe even Sotomayor may have a say this year. But I still have, like I said, I'm going to still give Taft the nod as far as winning the District 29 6A. And I wouldn't be surprised if they get back to their Homelander, and hopefully they'll get to the regional final this year.
Number 2, the 7th ranked team in 6A by Tasco, the number 2 ranked team in the Rafa's Power Top 15, the Johnson Jaguars.
Johnson, like I said, they've pulled up some great wins, especially in the playoffs the last couple of years. I think this year they have the pieces to make a, like I said, they did a great job last year. Can they make a deep run and get into, I think the roadblocks is playing some of those Austin teams, which I know a few years ago they knocked off Lake Travis. Can they kind of piece it together, make a run, and get back to Homelander for the regional tournament, and then maybe break through and finally get to Georgetown. So keep an eye on them. I'm sure they're going to have a lot of battles, especially with Reagan and with with Lee and Brandeis. So it should be interesting year this year for them.
And then number 1, the Smithson Valley Lady Rangers for that here. Number 8 in 5A girls, according to Tasco. Number 1 on the Rafa's girls Power Top 15. So, your thoughts on the Lady Rangers?
What can you say about them? The last 2 years they've been a very dominant team, and I think this year, I know they have to replace a couple good players, but like I said, they're coached well. And Coach Askins does a great job with those ladies, and I know they have a big target on their back this year, and especially in that district, that 26-5A, they got to contend with Piper, they got to contend with Canyon, with Bernie Champions. It's always a playoff game there for them, and I think that's what prepares them to make those deep runs into the playoffs. And who's to say this year maybe is the year they finally, like I said, they win the state title, and I think they have the coaching staff and the players to do it. So we'll see how they do this year.
So that wraps it up here for the ladies. So if you do have any feedback, thoughts, praises, complaints, reach out to Rafa, reach out to San Antonio Sports for here. This is all meant in discussion. Obviously, it's preseason, so this is going off of mainly history, and then some of the movements that we have. We don't know the inner workings of teams, and to be honest with you, most teams are probably they can't scrimmage till tomorrow, anyways. So it'll be interesting to kind of see how the ladies shake out. So moving on to the boys, just missed Edison, Antonian, and Madison. You got 3 that are listed for that here. I know I asked about Antonian. You mentioned it, and you've already mentioned when we went through the standings. Mm-hmm. You want to kind of see them prove it a little bit more, because they always seem to get off to a hot start and then cool off when it comes to district time. So this year, Rafa's holding them a little bit to a higher standard.
Yep.
Before they get into the top 15.
Yeah. Like I said, a good start for them. Can they piece it together? I mean, like I said, they're in a tough district. You saw with St. Thomas and Pius X. And Central Catholic. If they can get some wins against those 3 teams, this could be the season that they're looking for, that breakthrough.
This weekend, good shot to maybe break in for that here. Yep. With traveling to Houston, going against I think it's St. Pius and Villages. So obviously, for them to be able to get a quality win. Madison and Edison, your thoughts on those 2 programs?
Edison, what can say, their playoff team, they knocked off Alamo Heights last year, and they were in contention. And they also knocked off the Davenport boys last year. I was at that game. They were down 3-0, and if you haven't seen it, it's still on our Facebook page. It was a barn burner of a game to come back and we end up winning 4-3. So keep an eye on them. They've been consistently, like I said, a really well-coached team. They've like I said, they've made the playoffs. We'll see what they'll do this year. And then the kind of a newcomer here is Madison. And then from people that I've spoken with, they might be the team to watch. They're going to be the dark horse of District 28 6A. Some player movements, as far as with that roster. we'll see how they, like I said, a lot of them from some reports had them, high. Um, for me is like, let me see what you do first, So like I said, that's why I have them there here as an honorable mention. I want to see what they do, and then we'll see. Who's to say they don't get into the top 15, and we'll see what they do this upcoming season. But like I said, that 28-6A, it's a dogfight in that district, so they're going to have their hands full and see. But like I said, anything can happen.
So moving into the top 15, O'Connor. I know last year was a down year for O'Connor. And like I said here, AJ's got a couple of friends on there, so shout out to them. Your thoughts on the Panthers climbing back up the standings from a down year last year?
Well, they actually had a decent season. They actually won a playoff game. I was at the playoff game. They're at Ferris.
Right. They started out slow. That's right.
Yeah, they started out slow, but shout out to the parents there because, like I said, they're great. Having sitting down with them, with me and Coach Steve, went to go watch them play. And there was a game against Laredo United, and they won that game. Pretty, great game for them. And then they're just a little flow short against the Brownsville Rivera team. No, you can't put your head down on that. I know Chloe Bledsoe's done a great job with them, and I think they're gonna challenge, Harlan, this year, and with 29-6A is a tough district, and I think O'Connor has pieces to do some things here this year, and hopefully they can get past the second round and go further in.
14, Lavernia, the Bears at number 14 out of 4A 27.
So yeah, last year they got challenged. They got challenged like with Memorial and Kennedy, and like I said, if I had another honorable mention, it would have been Memorial. Lavernia, like I said, I know that a lot of them, they had a lot of a big junior squad this year. Now they're seniors, and this is their kind of like the make or break season for them. Can they make they've kind of fallen short on that first round game. Can they get over that hump and make a deep run, at least to the third round? I think they have they're a talented team. We'll see how they do. I know they're challenging themselves. I saw their schedule. They're really challenging themselves. I think they're gearing up for that. And, I think they don't want to have any disappointments again this year, because this is kind of like the make or break year for them to make a deep run for the 4A playoffs.
Bernie Champion at number 13.
Bernie Champion, what you can say of that? Great bounce back season for them. 2 years ago, they kind of hit a little rock bottom, but shout out to them. They had a great season last year. I think that they have something cooking there. We'll see how they do. Like I said, they're in that. Like I said, that district, that 26-5A. It's going to be tough for them, but I think they have enough talent to challenge for the title, and also you could say get one of the playoff spots.
And Davenport at number 12.
So another great team, like I said, for 4A. Like I said, I saw them last year. I know they had that little meltdown with Edison, but like I said, you learn from those games, and like I said, I think this year for them, they got a top task, being in the same district with Bernie and also with Wimberley. But I think they're going to do some good things this year, and they're going to give maybe Bernie a run for their money this year for the title.
Number 11, Reagan Rattlers out of the 6A 28.
Yeah, Reagan had a good year last year. Like I said, 28-6A is, like I said, one of the toughest districts in the state. I know they lost some key players this past year. So we'll see how Coach Riero, what he does this upcoming season. Like I said, they'll be in the mix. Like I said, I don't. Like I said, I see them getting into the playoffs, and we'll see if they can also challenge for the district title.
Yeah, 12-1-3 last year in district for Reagan, so very, very solid. Smithson Valley at number 10.
So another great team. I think they've really established some great things there. I think they're going to do some better and even better things this year.
Second year, right, under the new coach.
Yeah, so keep an eye. She's done a great job there. So shout out to her. She's really turned that kind of turn kind of not necessarily turn that thing around there, but really take it up a little bit up a notch there. And like I said, being in that district, they got some basic playoff games, but that's going to prepare them because 5A Region 4 is it is a tough region. They got some quality teams, and especially like in the Austin area, like last year, like Leander Roos was one of the top programs. So they may see them in the playoffs, like in the second, third round. So, but you'll see. I think Cincinnati Valley should have no issues getting into the playoffs this year.
Piper from that same district, 5A 26. Last year they got off to a strong start. It was a first-year program. Towards the end of the year, they kind of had a couple of losses that knocked them out from contending as the title, but still made the playoffs and finished 15 in your final poll last year.
Yeah, this year, it's kind of like the mirror image of the girls. They had a hot start, and then towards the end, I think that just the lack of experience, being a first-year varsity team, made it cut up to them. But this year's a bit different. I think they, they're a little wiser, more mature. They're going to surprise some teams this year, and it's a being also, like I said, being in 26-5A is going to prepare them to hopefully, for them to, for them to get into a deep run into the playoffs and try to get to that regional tournament.
Number 8, Alamo Heights.
Alamo Heights, like I said, been, you're kind of the tradition there. They've had some great teams each, year in and year out. They should be the favorite for 27-5A, even though they had some surprising losses like the one against Edison. But I think they'll be ready to go this year, especially to that preseason tournament that they host. They have some quality teams that go there, and that gets them ready for their district play. So, they can get back to the regional tournament again this year.
And last year you had Edison, MacArthur, Jefferson, and Brackenridge all had solid years for that here. Now Alamo Heights only had the one loss, but they pushed Alamo Heights a little bit further than I think most anticipated last year. And you have Jefferson on the just missed. You mentioned Edison, in the rankings here. So there is going to be some challenges come district time as well. Probably better planned this year than we thought last year. Number 7, Central Catholic, 4-0. Off to the season, the only tap school so far in the rankings here. As we discussed here, the 29th going against Lee for that here at 2 p.m. at was it Comalander Stadium here. So, your thoughts on the Buttons?
Like I said, we'll see what Coach Rule does with them this year. I know they fell short a little last year, but they had a good bounce back season from the year before. The year before they had a little disappointing season, but could they, win a state title without someone named Gallegos on the team? So, can they do it? And like I said, they have the coach for it. He's got the experience, and I think we'll see how they do this weekend. Like I said, they got some tough games in Houston this weekend, so we'll see what were the results for there. So that should kind of tell a lot where they're at right now.
Bernie at number 6.
Yeah, what can you say about Bernie? I mean, back-to-back state championships. I honestly thought they were going to three-peat. Just fell a little short against Hidalgo. I think kind of the situation. I think the weather. I remember that weekend the weather was bad, and they played a very late game, and I think maybe that kind of took a toll on them. And because
they played right before. They played the quarterfinals like 10, 11 o'clock at night, and then the final was 10, 11 o'clock in the morning, right? If memory serves me correct.
Somewhere around there, like closer to the mid afternoon, like early on, and I think that affected them because it did kind of all those delays kind of. It just kind of prolonged it. But I'm going to say Coach Strong, like I said, he's really built a great program there. And I think they're going to bounce back this year. And I think they have maybe a little chip on their shoulder. They got maybe something to prove. And I'm sure I know they're going to be heading down, I think, to the Valley. They usually go to the Valley for a tournament down there. I think they got something to say, and because maybe they'll run into Hidalgo and show them, hey, we'll see who's the real the king of the hill here in Region 4, so, or even the state too. So, but I expect some good things. I think they should win 26-4A. They may have some little challenges. Like I said, don't be surprised. Like I said, Wimberley and Davenport probably give them a challenge, but I think overall Bernie's going to end up winning that district.
Number 5, and this one might cause some little ruffles here in the San Antonio area. Tasco has them as this second-ranked state team in the state. My friend Rafa, you have them as 5, so that's, to me, that's a little bit of a difference.
Yeah. Well, I think from last year, like I said, the talent they have, they lost some really key players at key positions, and but the thing is, they're still a talented program. Coach Rogers, great coach. He's really, like I said, really has, you can see, Lee become one of the state powers. But losing some of those key players, and then also last year, the way the loss against Rivera was kind of unexpected. I really thought, they would win that game, and I know Rivera was going to give them a challenge, but I really thought Lee was just a little bit more talented, but Rivera just really took them out of their game. And so this year, like I said, I expect them. Like I said, I expect them to be in the playoffs and also challenge for the district title. But I think losing some of those key players, that's why I have them down in here. I know that the state rankings have them higher, I think, because of what they've done the last few years historically. But like I said, things can change. Like I said, we haven't started the season yet. Things can change. A lot of factors can happen, and who to say, Lee can end up becoming the number 1 team, for my power rankings very later on. So, yeah,
we're gonna have something to discuss, anyways, right?
Mm-hmm.
Harlan at number 4, the Harlan Hawks out of 6A 29.
So Harlan, like I said, the last 4 years, they've really established themselves as one of the best programs here in Region 4. Now, can they take that next step? Can they get to state? That's the one. They've been close, especially that one game they lost to Lake Travis, which I thought they kind of got the shaft on that. This now with the opening of Sotomayor, how's that affected their talent wise, kind of up the pipeline, is that going to affect them this year? But I still think, like I said, they're going to be one of the favorites in their 29 6A. And like I said, I won't be surprised if they're back there at Comalander there for the Region 4 tournament there for 6A.
Johnson at number 3. We were just talking about Lee. Johnson finished 4th in that district last year. Lee at number 1, and you've got Johnson as the 3rd team in the preseason. So, what do you like about Johnson this year?
They got a lot of talent back, especially in the goalkeeping. They're a solid group, and keep an eye on them. And I'm giving a little edge on them because what they've brought back. They played some, they lost some close games last year, but they've also won some big games too. But I think this year, this could be this is a big year for them, and I think they can do I think they're going to do some great things, and hopefully they can kind of do the same thing with the girls, go deep, into the playoffs, and they got some challenges, especially you got your Lake Travises, you got your Buoys, and you got your Ron Rocks teams. If they can beat some of those teams in those first 2 rounds, there's a limit for this team. So that's why I'm real high on them. I think they're going to do a really good job this year.
And speaking of the same district, Brandeis, the Broncos, another 6A 28. So they finished 3rd. For that here, it's the same record in district as Johnson, 11-3-2. For that here, but your thoughts on the Broncos outside of being a great NFL football team name?
My backyard school, yeah. Like I say, last year, like I said, they had some good wins, and they gave some challenge some teams last year. They gave barn they had some barn burner games. This year, I think they said they do return a lot of talent back, and kind of speaking to a couple people, I have them as probably one of them and Johnson are probably my favorites, for 26-8 as far as the district crown. But they'll be a playoff team, and can they? I know they had a tough loss last year in the playoffs, and like I said, I was there a lot, there, and can they kind of, get over the hump and make a deep run, kind of like what Lee's done and what Reagan's done? Is this the year that they do kind of break through and finally get into that regional tournament?
So for those keeping track at home, you've got out of District 28, 6A, you got Lee at 5, Johnson at 3, and Brandeis at 2, and I think Reagan was also 11th. Yeah, I think Reagan was 11th here on the listing. So a lot of respect for that District 28 that you have here. Very similar to, what was it, 5A 26 for the girls with
5A. Yeah.
So,
and also 26 for 4A too. So, and like I said, this is pound for pound. Like I said, we're including all the teams together, and it's a tough list. Kind of don't want to step on toes and stuff, but hey, but that's why you play the games. And what matters the most, the ranking matters the most, is the one that's holding the trophy in Georgetown, or for here, especially here for region 4. But the one that's going to count the most is the one who's holding the trophy at Georgetown. But it just shows that we have a lot of talent, very talented teams here. It's like I said, a lot of them do face each other, and like I said, one can beat the other at any given time, regardless of the classification. So, but like I said, it should be an interesting year on how some of these teams do.
So the number one team, I think it was 2 seasons ago, they went undefeated, and Rafa was like, they don't play anybody, and they haven't gone anywhere in the playoffs, which is true. Each year they've kind of improved, and this year the Southwest Dragons are your number one out of Rafa's 2024 boys power ranking, top 15 here. So a lot of growth between you and the Southwest Dragons, because I used to be the cheerleader for them, saying, hey, you're undervaluing. Could you have possibly gone too far now?
No, I mean, look what they did last year, and
yes,
they finally got. I think they've learned their lessons from the years before, and they understand that just not to knock off the rest of the teams in 25A. It's Southwest and everyone else.
Everybody else.
It's the Southwest Invitational, so and. But they fully understand that, hey, we need to challenge ourselves to get prepared for the playoffs, and they've realized that in these last couple of years, and they were able to go deep this year. I know they fell short, in the regionals, and I think they got the taste of it. Say, hey, we can do this. Now, can we take that next? Is this the year can they take that next step and get to the regional final and possibly get to the state, the state Final Four? And I think they have the talent enough there at Southwest. I know there's going to be some challenges this year, especially some of the Valley teams. I know they're scrimmaging Brownsville Porter, which is, you can't really tell much on the scrimmage, because, like I said, when you do scrimmages, you're basically you're evaluating your talent, see what rosters, what alignments, your top, your 11, who's going to be your starting 11, or what type of rotation you're going to have as far as your substitutions. But like I said, they're still challenging themselves. They're playing some quality teams, and they understood, they understand what they need to do. So when they get to the playoffs, they're not caught, playing a team that's, a little faster than, the speed of the games they're not used to, and they can challenge, and they proved that last year. So this year, like I said, they have the target on their back. And can they build upon what they did last year? Can they take it beyond and finally get to, like I said, not only win the region, but also get to the state tournament? But they're going to have some challenges, like I said. Brownsville Porto's a team that they have to worry about. Far Valley View, Brownsville Lopez, Brownsville Veterans Memorial, even the Corpus Christi Veterans Memorial teams. And then you got your Austin teams like Leander Rouse, Cedar Park. So those are the teams that, like I said, they're going to see in the playoffs, and can they beat those to get to where they want to get to, which is, like I said, get to Burbank Outfield and Georgetown there in April.
Hey, do you have? Are you able to end the stream? Because I got to go for that here, or no?
Sure.
If you want to finish up, I got to run. Unfortunately, one of the cats broke out, so I got to go chase the cat.
Okay. So just to finish up, like I said, we're just looking forward for this season here. Like I said, those are my preseason power rankings. Like I said, so shout out to the teams that made the top 15s, and also my honorable mentions. And I'll look forward to, going to the games this year. Hopefully we'll have some games of the week. Hopefully I'll be joining a couple of people that are hopefully on commentary, and then also visit with a lot of the teams. Also, hopefully we get to do some interviews, and any feedback from you guys, we're more appreciative. We love you, the support you guys have given us the last 5 years, and I don't know, this year's going to be another great season. We're looking, hopefully we can get some state champions like we did bring those trophies back to San Antonio. And it's like I mentioned, it's going to be a fun season. And on behalf of Harry, like I said, for the roundtable, like I said, just keep an eye on this. So hopefully we'll be back next week, probably discuss the district realignment. I know we're going to talk about that today, but we'll say that for next week. We're going to talk about the possible realignments. I know that we've seen some mock realignments, and just kind of discuss, what are the ramifications from that, for the 2024-2026 season, what districts could be some challenges and so forth. But on behalf of Harry, like I said, what's life without goals? Thank you guys, and we'll see you guys next week.